Zoe didn't grow up knowing she was special. She grew up knowing she was loud. Loud music, loud dreams, loud emotions she didn't yet have names for. In a narrow apartment above a neon-lit street in Seoul, she learned to fall asleep to the rhythm of bass from underground clubs and the hum of old refrigerators. Her mother worked late nights stitching stage outfits for idols she'd never meet, while Zoe practiced dance moves in the mirror, using reflection as her only audience. What she didn't know was that the mirrors sometimes watched back, not with her own eyes, but with something older, something curious. The first time Zoe sensed the demons, she was 10. It happened during a blackout. No lights, no music, just the city holding its breath. As she stood on the rooftop, the darkness seemed to bend and twist, forming shapes that didn't belong. Shadows stretched too long. Whispers slid between the wind. Zoe wasn't afraid, not really. Instead, her heart beat in time, like a metronome clicking her into focus. When she clapped her hands to steady herself, the sound rang out sharper than it should have, slicing through the dark. The shadows recoiled. That was the night she learned sound could hurt monsters. By middle school, Zoe lived two lives. By day, she was a trainee hopeful, running drills, perfecting vocals, smiling until her cheeks ached. By night, she dreamed of glowing sigils and broken stages floating in endless voids. Her voice changed in those dreams, carrying power that cracked stone and burned through lies. She'd wake up hoarse, palms buzzing, sheets tangled like she'd been fighting something invisible. Her instructors scolded her for overworking. Zoe nodded, apologized, and kept going. Quitting wasn't an option, not when something inside her had finally found a rhythm. Her world truly shifted when she met the others. It started at an underground showcase, too small for real idols, too risky for trainees, but the crowd buzzed with electric energy. That's where she heard Mina's guitar scream like a warning siren, where Jay's drums pounded with a heartbeat not entirely human, where Hana's choreography cut the air so clean it felt sharpened. And when the lights flickered and the crowd's cheers twisted into screams, Zoe understood why they were all there. The demons came feeding on obsession and envy, wearing faces borrowed from broken dreams. Without thinking, Zoe sang. Her voice wasn't perfect, but it was true. Notes flared like fire, harmonizing with Mina's strings, syncing with Jay's rhythm, guiding Hana's movements into a spell older than any genre. The demons shrieked as sound and motion bound them, dragging them back into the cracks they crawled from. When it was over, the venue stood silent, dust drifting in the spotlight. No one clapped. No one needed to. The four of them just stared at each other, breathing hard, knowing there was no going back to normal. They trained in secret after that, guided by fragments of lore scavenged from old fan forums, band rehearsal halls, and a mysterious former idol who spoke in riddles and never removed her sunglasses. Zoe struggled the most, not with power, but with control. Her emotions fueled her voice, and her voice fueled the magic. When she doubted herself, the spells fractured. When she got angry, they exploded. Failure followed her like a shadow, whispering that she was too much, too messy, too loud. But every time she fell, the music pulled her back up, reminding her that chaos could still be harmony if you leaned into it. The early battles weren't glamorous. They fought in empty subway stations, abandoned studios, backstage corridors that smelled of sweat and dreams. Demons wore many forms. Some were towering and vicious, others subtle, slipping into fans' hearts and turning love into obsession. Zoe learned that not every fight ended with a song. Sometimes it ended with listening, with understanding the pain that gave demons their shape. That lesson stayed with her longer than any victory, carving empathy into her power. Zoe's biggest test came the night her mother followed her. A late rehearsal, a missed call, a mother's instinct stronger than any illusion. When a demon broke through during a practice run, Zoe froze, not because of fear, but because her mother was watching. The fight was messy, raw, unfinished. When the demon fell, silence rushed in. Her mother didn't scream, she didn't run, she just looked at Zoe with tired eyes and said, "So this is why you sing like your life depends on it." They didn't talk much after that, but her mother started sewing armor into stage outfits, thread glowing faintly under moonlight. By the time Zoe stood on her first real stage, the city no longer felt like it was watching her, it felt like it was waiting. The crowd roared, lights flared, and for a moment she was just a girl chasing a dream. Then she felt it, the pull, the pressure, the hunger in the air. Zoey smiled into the mic, confidence settling into her bones. This was only the beginning. The early years had shaped her, cracked her open, taught her how to turn noise into power. And as the beat dropped, Zoey sang, not just for fame, not just for survival, but to protect a world that danced on the edge of darkness, unaware of how close the monsters really were.